And now it's time for the latest exciting episode of Doz's Television Workshop.
Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop, where today we're going to be taking a look at this vintage Toshiba HX-10 microcomputer from some time in the 80s. This isn't just any HX-10, oh no, this is a broken one. Let's get into it. Right, here it is, the Toshiba HX-10 conforms to the MSX standard. Now, if you're not aware of what an MSX machine is, it was a standard sort of created by Microsoft and other interested parties that standardized a home computer. So they are all software compatible. They all look a bit different. Gold Star made one, I believe. Toshiba, of course. Casio, I believe, made one. Yamaha and Sony. Now the Sony one was called the Hit-Bit, and when they arrived in the UK, I was quite impressed with that. It was nice build quality. This looks a bit like it looks a bit industrial, doesn't it? Whereas the Hit-Bit had a bit of style to it. But yeah, there we go. This one has been languishing in an attic for a million years. It belongs to one of my neighbours, and he said, inspired by some of your videos, he said, I thought I'd try it out and see if I could get it going. Plugged it in, it went bang. There we go. Such is their want. So I'm not going to plug this in until we've had a quick inspection. But he said, if you can do anything with it, you can have it. So I thought, well, that'll make a nice video, won't it? Now, yeah, it's really nicely built. The keyboard looks nice to type on. It's got a very nice keyboard, I have to say. We've got two joystick ports, ordinary Atari 9-pin, I think, although I think there may be support for twin fire buttons. There's a printer port there, which is some sort of like mini Centronics interface really, but again, looks like a quality Amphenol type connector. On the rear, again, we've got this expansion bus, looks to be unused, got the screws in it. We've got phonos for composite video and audio out. There's an RF port, of course, because that's how things rolled in the 80s. And a multi-pin DIN connector there. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's an 8-pin DIN there. Oh, it might be the same as Auric. For connecting cassette. So, yeah, inbuilt power supply. We have got a very non-compliant plug that's all hanging apart. So I wonder if that's what went bang, actually. Always worth a look, isn't it? It's got to come off anyway because, yeah, it's horrible. And it's got a 13 amp fuse in it. I'm going to take that off. There's no signs of any short circuits or anything in there, though, so that's good. Yeah, let's get rid of that. That's naughty. You ever see that, by the way? Cut the lead off and re-terminate. You see it's soldered at the end. That's very much frowned upon. Philips made that mistake with a television set and then paid you to cut the plug off and put another one on. If you solder a piece of wire and then screw it into a terminal, you know, an ordinary screw terminal, what can happen is the solder creeps up the wire and the screw becomes loose. It's called solder creep. And it's bad news. You can put a crimp on there or whatever, no problem at all. But if you see solder on there, get rid of it. Right, that's for the bin. And yeah, let's just take the thing in pieces. I have had a look on the internet for some data for this machine, and it would appear that the schematic and board layout is not available. It is, however, available for an MSX machine, but of course each company designed the same hardware, maybe on a different board. So we're going to be sort of scratching around on our own, I think, a little bit. If we need to produce any logic repair. Looks like an M3 screw to me with an integral washer. This machine's 240 volts, 50 hertz, So that means it should be a UK spec machine. The standard did cope with NTSC and PAL variants. I don't know if they made a CCAM one. Did very well in Japan and not quite so well in Europe, but they did do well. Didn't really make an impact in the UK. Like I say, I remember seeing them, but by the time this had come out, you know, Spectrum and Commodore and maybe Amstrad's hold on the market was just so great. They didn't do so well here in the UK. So I don't know how rare this is. Might be quite rare, really. Those look to me like they hold a transformer on the bottom there. So I'm going to leave those put for a minute and see. Yeah, here we go. We are in. Okay, obviously we're hanging up on the keyboard connector somewhere. I hope it isn't one of those ghastly ribbons. No, it isn't. Look at that. Wow, what a beautiful thing. So, we've got some odd stuff going on, haven't we? Come out. Oh, it smells of potpourri or something. Oh, it smells lovely. What's going on with this keyboard connector? Come out. Hasn't been out for a million years, has it? There we go. We've got an Alps keyboard, that's why it feels good. I'm just checking to see if the solder joints look alright. Which they do. That'll come back and bite me, innit? Just like the Auric Atmos did. Here it is. So, what have we got? We have a Yamaha sound chip in this one. Now, Yamaha on their own machine, they produced like a MIDI workstation for it with a keyboard and a sort of big synthesizer thing, and that's quite sought after. Not sure if that's been warm. Oh, they've all gone a bit sticky. There's possible heat marks around that linear transformer here. We have got Yamaha sound chip, a Toshiba something or other. I suspect that's probably the ULA. A Sharp LH0080A, which is a Z80. You see on there, Z80 CPU. There is a TMM 233256. I don't know what that is either. So we've got sound, processor. Now I thought these all standardized with Texas Instruments graphics. Maybe what's going on under there. This chip here has a heatsink on the top. So yeah. And we also have that's probably there for the ROM. We've got some glue logic. Don't quite know what that IC is. Dated the 36th week of 84 though. We have HM486P2. So that's RAM. So that is our 64K of RAM. Hang on, what's this then? Those are 4116s. I wonder if it has separate graphics memory. I don't know anything about MSX. So obviously Z80, it's running, looks like 3.579 megahertz. So yeah, should be a flyer, shouldn't it? The other thing I didn't mention, we've got a cartridge slot there. Looks unused. So as far as I'm aware, these have, obviously, because it was Microsoft had their hand in it, it's got Microsoft Basic as standard. Mind you, didn't most things. So yeah, there we go. Normal close. Oh, that's a little micro switch to tell you when the cartridge is in. Look there. Just connected to this connector there. This board, it's in a socket marked PAL I, so I suspect that's generating our British standard of video. Right, well I can't see anything that's gone bang in here. I think it would be prudent to remove the board and have a look underneath. Let's get the electric screwdriver out. About a 8mm long screw, plastic thread, a lot of screws down the back there. It's nicely marked, the board as well. It does say plus or minus 12 volts ground and AC1 and AC2, so clearly we have two different, oh, that's a different screw. That's M3 machine thread. Yeah, so obviously we have two different windings on the transformer. So, well, we've got 4. If you've got plus minus 12, we're going to need a ground, aren't we? Mains is just going via the switch straight in. Okay. Have I got enough to let me remove things? Don't think I have. Oh, there's one more in between the two phono sockets there. Again, that's another threaded screw. Okay, it's going to be the usual squiggle it out sideways kind of affair. I think I'm going to remove the PAL connector, that one there as well. This insulation has sort of gone sticky, both over here and on that lead there. Remove the transformer connector. There we are, and we are free. Look at that, proper RF shielding. What's that? I didn't do that. Is that what's gone bang? God, it could have wreaked havoc, couldn't it? That's a beautifully made board, isn't it? Look at that. None of that horrible wrinkly print that we see on Spectrums and Commodores of the vintage. I wonder if that screw managed to short out against something. I can't see any damage of it, but this is nice. We have labels underneath. I know you're upside down. There you go, AY38910. That sound IC is, so that's our Yamaha IC. Obviously just an equivalent thereof. 4146 and then M416, which I think is... Yeah, I need to do some research, don't I? Right, I wonder what went bang. I can't see anything bad that's happened. So, yeah, I think I'm tempted to plug in and switch on and see what happens. Right, I have got everything connected up. I've got mains on there. I've got audio video coming out into the back of the workshop monitor. And let's see if it goes bang. I'm drawing a little bit of current from the mains, so that should be working. You expected it to boot. We've got nothing, have we? First thing to do, I suppose, is just to check that we got 5 volts about the place. I should pick up the ground from that corner there. What do we got there? 5.03, well, that's sort of sensible. 5.03. 5.03, yeah, I'm thinking our 5 volts is pretty good. But clearly we've got no video, so power supply's okay, at least for now. I think it's time to break out the scope and we'll just have a little look around, see what activity we can see. I'm just going to power off for a second. So first things first, I want to... So we know I've got 5 volts on our Z80. So let's just check it's not stuck in reset for whatever reason. Right, I've got a reasonable ground there, I hope. Reset is pin 26. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So sanity check on the scope. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I switch on, we should see that assert itself. It did go high very briefly. Let's slow the time base right down. Yep. So that is being held out or reset. So that's good news. Let's have a look on pin 30, which is our address bus, see if we've got anything going on. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oh, we have activity. Let's just bring that up. There we go. Right, so it's doing something. So that's address 0. 1, yep. 2. Try and trigger something a bit better, shall we? Where's my trig level button? Yeah, we can see we've got data there. So it is attempting to execute code, isn't it? Well, that's good news. Let's have a quick look on the data bus. Pin 15, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. And we've got... are we happy with that waveform? I think we are. Yeah, that's doing data busy type things, isn't it? So it is executing code. Good. However, that does leave me with a bit of a quandary, doesn't it? So it appears to be working. We've got no video output. I have plugged the PAL board back in. Z80's warm. ROM isn't. Graphics chip's warmish. AY isn't. If it's the ULA, I'm going to be stuffed, aren't I? Yeah. Right. So it is at least executing code. So we've got no video. One thing I haven't looked at is... let's just have a little poke around this PAL-I board here. See if we can see anything that looks like video coming out. What's that? Well, there's something coming out. Let's increase our faults per division and tweak. Oh, well, that's video. That is video. That does look very much like video, but I tell you something though. It does look like video. So why are we seeing nothing on there? Okay, so we've got video there. We haven't got video there. I do need a schematic, don't I, really? Let's pull the board back out. Is that regulator warm? Warmish. Let's pull the board back out and see if we can find the video path through the machine. Right, video out socket is there. I must say there's a very fine trace there. Goes to R99. Let's just beep this through. And it goes on the other side of the board. That's disappointing. Let's just see if we've got continuity. What's R99? I bet that's 75 ohms or something, is it? Oh no. 180k. Okay. Didn't measure right, but anything could happen. Then it goes to the top side of the board. runs along, yeah, no, I was at the wrong end there. That is 68 ohms, which is what we read, wasn't it? R99. Yep. Then there's, it's a voltage divider, isn't it? It probably generates something like 5-volt video or something, so they just divide the voltage down using a voltage divider, 2 resistors, to get the correct level. Right, that then feeds that via there by the PAL 2 connector there. So I'm just going to go back to continuity. And does that end up here? It does. So that video is actually coming out of there. So maybe it's digital here and something weird goes on there. Alright. Let's make a test at this lead to see if we get any video there. I'm just going to lose the RF shield for a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a screw back in on that ground. Video is that one there. Of course, I don't know if we're getting any audio or not because I don't know how to make audio with this machine. So we should have video on this pin over here. So let's just switch on. Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, so nothing coming out of there. Let's just check the continuity of the lead just in case, because we've messed about with that. Sanity check, sanity check. Yep. And the ground side of it. Yep. Looking like we've got a problem on there, isn't it? So we've got a 74 LSO4 logic gate. I bet that's running as an oscillator, and an LVA 510. So yeah, let's see if there's anything obvious under here. It's not a keyboard, look, it's a keyboard. Right, so this is a... wow, okay. This isn't made the same level of quality, is it? We've got a logo on there that I can't identify, but horrible, covered in flux and generally unpleasant. I'm going to unplug it. And have a good look at that, because that looks horrible. Where are my magnifiers? I mean, it is unpleasant, but there's nothing there I can see that's going to stop it operating. Yeah, there we've got our PAL colour burst oscillator there, 4.43 megahertz. What I need is a little bit of data, isn't it? So I'm just going to have a quick Google and I can see if I can find out what that LVA 510 chip is. I suspect it's a PAL encoder, but let's go and find out. I've done a little bit of research. I can't find a data sheet for that chip, but it looks to be a Lumichroma encoder. So it would appear that the video processor, which is this IC, is outputting luminance, red minus luminance, blue minus luminance. So this is then encoding it into PAL and sending it out on that lead. But we've got nothing there. So now, if that IC is not receiving a colour burst, I wonder if it doesn't do anything. So it would appear that this IC here generates a, it's the clock. So we've got our 4.43 megahertz crystal there, and then it's just feeding this chip as some sort of oscillator, I would think. So just a crystal in the feedback, so to speak. Just the same as you do with a normal crystal oscillator. So we've got a system clock of 35.7, so it's probably the same as that. Yeah, look, 7404. This I think is made by Mitsumi, looking at the logo. So yeah, their LVA series of ICs all seems to be sort of TV related. So I suspect that's just an oscillator. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to power back up, and I'm just going to have a scope on this chip here to see if our 4.43 megahertz is available. And I just wonder if it needs that, or it mutes or something if it doesn't get the right signals. I wouldn't have thought so. I'd have thought we'd have got a no colour situation. And before anybody shouts at me, this television set is quite tolerant of things that aren't quite PAL. I know it's an LCD set, but it is of some age now. So yeah, I think it is very tolerant. It displays Spectrum and Amstrad just fine. I've never known a computer it hasn't displayed when they're working right. So I think that's probably good. So yeah, I'm just going to scope up around this chip, and we should see 4.43 megahertz. Right. Okay, so I've got my scope probe here. So I'm just going to power up. Let's just check we've got some activity. Yeah, we've got activity. So I just want to see that we've got something going on here. What's that? Let me just align that camera, because that's a little bit interesting. So watch the frequency down here. You can see it says 10 hertz at the minute. If I pop that on there, look, the input from the crystal, 2.67 megahertz. That's not 4.43. 4.43 divided by 2. Hang on. No, that's 6 megahertz there, look. 6.4. 6.6. None of this is looking like 4.43, is it? 4.1. That's not good enough. That's the power supply, I think. The power supply should be here. Line AC. Hang on. Let's just sort that out. Yeah. That's DC couple. So that should be our 5-volt rail there. Yep. Okay. Hang on. No. Are we missing 5 volts? Nope, there it is. Okay. There's all sorts of random rubbish on here. Oh, there's some sync pulses or something there. Alright, I haven't seen 4.43 megahertz. I'm going to switch off. Now that screw was lying sort of down here, wasn't it? I mean, it could have shorted out anywhere. But let's see if I've got a colour crystal. Pop that in and see if we get a display. Right, I want crystals. Right, in my drawer of crystals, let's see if I've got some colour crystals. 4.43. Look at the state of that. Well, it is 4.43, and it will prove the point if it's any good. So yeah, let's lash that in. Well, that's 4.43 as well. That one's got it stamped on it. I feel a bit more confident. I suppose if we put a 4 megahertz one in, would it just work and not give us any colour now it's getting its clock or whatever? I don't know. Let's put this in. Let's shoehorn that in there somehow and make it work. Right, let's do that. Right, well, there's our crystal. 4.433619. How am I going to lash that onto there? Can I sort of strap it in? I only want to hang it in there to prove the point. So I'm just going to tack it on. Pins are quite oxidized on here. This size of crystal sort of appeared in your 60s and 70s sort of colour TV sets. So anything that was decoding PAL or encoding PAL needed a reference of 4.43. Some had 8.86 and had a divide by 2 circuit in. Oh, let's get some fresh solder in there. It's horrible. I don't want to sort of stick it on flying leads if I can possibly avoid it, because who knows what effect the sort of parasitic capacitance of the leads will have, because it will bend the frequency slightly. Right, well, that's in there. Right, that's got that lashed in there, so switch it on, and well, we've got black and white, but we have got video. Okay. Let me get a tweaking stick. There is an oscillator adjustment there. I wonder if that will bring the colour in. This isn't a tuning issue because obviously this is composite. Okay, so clearly this crystal is bad and that one isn't quite good enough. Normally you get a little trim pot on the actual video itself, but we're running. We've got horrific dot crawl. See if I can just... It's the worst that can happen. That is sort of altering the pattern a bit. Right, I think what I need to do is go and find the correct type of crystal and yeah, fit that, and maybe that'll put our problem right. But we have a working system. That bothers me. Is that right? I'll need to do some research, but isn't this a 64K machine? And we have separate video memory, so why aren't we showing 64K? Maybe it's just the basic ROM is masked over the top. I don't know. Right. Nevertheless, it's running. I'm going to go and dig around in my garage because I know I've got colour reference crystals kicking around in there. Right, let me go and find one. Okay, so I've been out in the garage, found lots of crystals and fitted another one. So we're going to power up and boom, we have colour. Does look a little bit fizzy, but I did tweak that oscillator, didn't I, which seemed to move the pattern when we only had black and white video. Yeah, you can see that. Well, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it is moving the dot pattern a little bit. So let's just set that to make it as steady as possible. It'll probably drift like the clappers as it warms up anyway, but hey. There we go, that looks good. Let's just check that colour locks as we bring it back on again. Yeah, no, that looks as clear as a bell. Lovely. Right, we got a working thing. That's just wonderful. Yeah, I suppose the next thing to do is I'm going to reattach the video board, fit a keyboard, see if the keyboard works or if that might need repair. Who knows? But, well, that's excellent news. We have a running system. So I've got a new system to play with, maybe. Right, okay. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and box it all back together. Right, it's voiceover DOS here. This whole no colour thing sort of concerned me a bit because it didn't seem to make sense that such a simple chip would react so badly and mute the output without a valid 4.43 megahertz chroma subcarrier. So I went back and I did some more experiments, and sure enough, if you leave the crystal out, you get no colour. If you put a bad crystal in, you get no colour. If you put the original crystal back in, you get no video. So something is very weird with that original crystal. Anyway, time for a cup of tea. Back on with the video. Right, duly refreshed. I need to take that screw out. Where's my screwdriver gone? There we go. Lose the oscilloscope. Now we've got things working. Little sign of some sort of corrosion there on that back panel. You can see it there, look. But can't see any real damage has been done. There we go. Just power it back on again just to make sure that's all back up together and working. No video because it's not plugged in. That had me worried for a second. There you go, beautiful. Very good. Okay, let us attach the keyboard and see if that all works. Power LED is on. Got a little key click sound coming out of the monitor as well. Oh, we've got a BS key. That tickles my inner 15-year-old, that one. 20 go to 10. Absolutely standard. There it is. Interesting, we end up with this legend at the bottom. Stop. Stop is just a pause button. How do we break? I don't know how to stop. Do we press it twice? No. That and return? Nope. Oh. That obviously needs... Oh, there we go. Control stop. Does it. There you go. There's a thing for the modern world, isn't it? Stop BS. There we go. Right, well, we got one errant screw left over. I haven't put any screws in the case. Keyboard seems okay. That spacebar wasn't very happy to start with, but no, it all seems to be working okay now, so that's good. So the next thing to do is work out how I'm going to get some software on this thing. I can see from giving a quick sort of Google about that there are a couple of sort of cartridge solutions, one of which appears to be open source. Maybe they're both open source, I don't know, but certainly there was one I was looking at, and there's a guy selling kits on eBay, so I might just go and purchase one of those.
3 days later.
Right, it's a few days later, and I have received a anti-static bag full of exciting parts. This is an Oyanami kit. It came from a seller on eBay. He was very helpful, but apparently he doesn't do this for a living. He just ordered some PCBs, presumably from one of the Chinese fab houses, and he, you know, obviously built one for himself and then sold the remainder, which is all very fair and good. So I purchased this, so I have got a PCB, 3 little capacitors, some passives. We have a resistor a resistor array, 10k according to this, some dip switches, bonus games it's marked on there, 2 bits of glue logic. I've got a 74 LS 670 and a 74 LS 02, and presumably some form of EEPROM. Okay, so yeah, interestingly this cartridge isn't keyed. There's no key in there, so I'm going to need to make sure I put it in the slot the right way round. Pin 2, pin 50, right, fair enough. So yeah, let's get this board populated. I think I'm going to want a socket for at least the EEPROM. Probably won't bother with the glue logic. So yeah, let's get it built. I'm going to start by fitting those 0.1 mic capacitors, I think. Blob of blue tack. Place the resistor pack. We need to find out which is pin 1, and as I've mentioned before, there's a dot on the end that's pin 1, so it goes in that way round. Pop the dip switch on, with a little bit of a bent pin. And I'm going to be an animal and just stick the chip straight onto the board, I think. Give them a squish in the old leg squisher. The position of the notch on the chip clearly indicated on the board there, so nice. Right, I think I'm going to see if I've got a chip socket that'll take the EEPROM. So, box of chip sockets. And I've not got that many of the wide-spaced type. So what we may end up doing is cutting one down, I think, so it fits. Yeah. So, not ideal, but needs must, and I've got plenty of these. Okay, that's assembled that in just a few minutes. The Oyanami megabit mapper for legitimate purposes, no less. Right, now what I don't know is whether this EEPROM has got actually any contents on it or not. So, well, that'll be an EROM, won't it, because it's not got a window. But I suppose there's one easy way to find out, just plug it in, see what happens. So yeah, let's do that. By the way, there is a 3D printed case as well. I've had 2 goes at printing it, 3 goes in fact. The third one came out. The first 2 I made a lot of spaghetti. My printer's not liking the hot weather we're having in the UK at the moment. So yeah, there we go. So I've got a case. Let's get that. Presumably that's the front. Ah, okay, that obviously goes on like that and locates the cartridge PCB in the right place. There we go. So hopefully I don't insert it into the computer the wrong way round. No scrolls. How's that meant to... Oh, it just clips together. The Oyanami cartridge. Strange. So the EEPROM fits in effectively upside down. Squish the legs. So it slides into the socket. There we go. Don't know what the dip switches are. Best go and have a look at the documentation. Right. Right, it's actually the following day because I spent several hours in the workshop last night, and then when I did get it working, I did spend hours and hours playing this game. And this is Konami's The Maze of Gallius, which is just fabulous. And yeah, the machine works perfectly. It works fine with my Bluetooth joystick adapter that I built in a previous episode, and you can see the picture quality is great. You should be getting a good grab there. Sound quality is wonderful, and it's a really good game. Just goes to show, it's a bit of sprite flicker there, but absolutely brilliant. And I've thoroughly enjoyed playing this last night. I like this kind of game, sort of a bit of an adventure, platformy type thing. It's my particular genre, but yeah, and just a really good game. One thing I must mention about the game, it's apparently called a megabit game, and it is, I think, 128k. And I know what you're saying, Doz, this is a 64k computer, but they've got bank switching going on in the cartridge. And yeah, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So there you go. Right, so I'll leave you now with the Maze of Gallius. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish, and I'll see you really soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now, bye.